Okay. Good morning, Facebook. It's April Fool's Day. I'm curious what kind of pranks people are going to be trying to pull on one another. I've got a couple of friends who react pretty strongly if anybody makes a joke about what's going on with COVID 19 right now. I'm not going to be on for very long today. I'm just going to sort of do an off the cuff stream of consciousness rant. Yesterday was really heavy with figures and information and everything I could think of that was um, solid scientific information to give a perspective from a factual standpoint on what's going on. And I've got a lot of information. I mean, I got this binder, and every day I've been filling it up with information. I have it categorized into like 6 or 7 different folders within this binder. Everything from presidential action to congressional action divided between the House and the Senate to local action, what's going on from Olympia. I've got information about treatment possibilities, therapeutics. There's not really much to report with respect to a vaccine. I'm sure you all have heard government officials saying that a vaccine is 12 to 18 months out before we actually have something. It's uh it's worth pointing out that yesterday the coronavirus task force and the president gave a press briefing at the White House. It was announced that the 15 days to slow the spread had been extended. Those same guidelines that were issued as part of that guidance have been extended out to the end of April. Also, in that press availability, it was projected that even given the mitigation efforts that have been put in place, they are still projecting a death toll within the United States alone somewhere between 100 and 200,000 people in the United States alone will perish as a result of this disease. And that the next 2 weeks in particular are projected to be very tough on our country. The presentation itself, the prepared statements between the president, Dr. Birx, Dr. Fauci, and Vice President Pence was between 33 and 34 minutes, but the entire press availability was 2 hours and 11 minutes. So, by far, the majority of the time consumed by that press conference was questions to the president and to various members of the coronavirus task force. I've seen some excerpts, such as a question asked by Jim Acosta. His question was essentially an implicit accusation that the president dropped the ball by not enforcing social distancing guidelines much sooner. The president countered by observing his decision on the 31st of January to suspend all travel coming in from China. Yesterday, I commented as to the number of people on average. I think I said it was between 5 and 6,000 people per day arriving directly from China through California, and to speculate about why it was that New York and the New York City metropolitan area, including New Jersey and some other places around there, were now the epicenter and California was not. Just to clarify that, when I gave those figures about 5 to 6,000 arrivals from the Asian countries per day coming through California, of course, I was referring to a period in time prior to travel restrictions and to other mitigation having been established. Before I forget or get too far, I'm going to look at coronavirus figures as of today's date. And if anyone is curious, I am getting this information from worldometer.com/coronavirus, or worldometers.info/coronavirus. The worldwide figures I didn't look at today, just looking at United States cases. As of today, there are 205,438 cases, positive or confirmed cases, and the United States is looking at 4,528 deaths, a substantial increase from yesterday's numbers. The worst affected state remains New York State. They're looking at 83,712. So they are no longer at the halfway point. There, it used to be for about a week or so that New York comprised fully half or even slightly more than half of all total confirmed cases within the United States. That is no longer the case. I don't know if that can be looked at as a positive or not. The state of Washington, according to this list of states, which are ranked by the number of cases, Washington State is down in 10th place now. Washington State is reporting 5,482 with 225 fatalities. I wanted to go into the figures about county by county, but interestingly, the website, being the Washington State Department of Health website, which has been giving updated figures, they haven't updated since March 28th. And they have issued a statement on their website as to why their figures are not updating. I'm just going to share with you that statement. The Department of Health in the state of Washington is committed to continued data transparency. We are working to ensure daily numbers are posted on time. Here's some context about recent challenges. First, the Washington Disease Reporting System, or WDRS, is used to report notifiable conditions. Outside a pandemic, only positive results would be reported. WDRS is now tracking negative results for COVID-19. This volume is overwhelming the tool. We have worked with the vendor supporting WDRS to increase capacity. We are also investigating additional solutions, which may include a separate reporting tool for negative results, roughly 93% of the data at this time, and automating deduplication work performed manually each day. One day last week, more than 2,000 duplicate results were removed to ensure accurate, reliable numbers. Department of Health will share additional updates if this problem persists. We cannot provide an estimate for the next release of numbers, but are working diligently toward that goal. This week, the Department of Health made several new data points available. Our website now includes visualizations showing confirmed cases, the I should have practiced this word. The epidemiological curve, cumulative case and death counts, testing numbers, and demographic information. Also coming soon is hospitalization data. We are also working to optimize the user experience for this data, including for those without a high-speed connection or those working from a mobile device. So the list of states provided by a different website, that being Worldometers at .info, lists Washington as being all the way down to 10th place, and yet our own state Department of Health is not able to report accurately the number of cases and fatalities that the state has experienced, and that may be having some effect on the numbers. But I think it's fair to say that with the early mitigation methods that were instantiated here in Washington as early as it was, we have seen an encouraging effect. The measures the state of Washington has taken, at least with respect to how we stand in comparison to other states throughout the United States, our measures and our efforts have shown considerable efficacy. And while we apparently are looking towards some difficult times over the next 30 days, and specifically, according to the White House, within the next 2 weeks, we do have measurable results indicating that what we are doing is working. The coronavirus task force has been careful to continually reiterate that our methods are not vaccines, they are not therapeutics, which have proven to work, that this is all behavioral. And the way that the individual citizen is voluntarily, as per guidance, both on state and federal levels, adjusting the way we are approaching our daily lives. This is what we can do. This is the method that we have at our disposal to slow this thing down and to eventually get over it for good. I've referenced Italy a number of times because they have such a high mortality rate. And while that mortality rate remains considerably higher than any other country in the world, even the figures coming out of Italy, as was demonstrated with figures and slides, etc., by the coronavirus task force at the White House yesterday, even Italy is showing an encouraging trend. There is a notable decrease in the amount of new cases. They have reached that inflection point. Now, there's going to be peaks, valleys, there's going to be spikes, but if we zoom out a little bit and examine things more broadly, then there is a definite inflection point that Italy has experienced, and their number of new cases is noticeably and visibly decreasing. I believe that that is a trend that we're about to see worldwide. I've heard a lot of speculation that the coronavirus doesn't respond well to warmer conditions, and we're starting to see the weather get nicer and the temperatures rise as spring moves forward. So just for that reason alone, I think that we're in the not too distant future, we're going to be looking at better conditions with lower numbers, and potentially we're going to start seeing the restrictions recede a little bit, and life will be given way to return to normal, at least a little bit. I truly don't think that things are ever going to be quite the same. What we're dealing with and experiencing right now is such a new and such a unprecedented phenomenon. We're going to come through this a changed people, a changed country, a changed society. Our culture will carry the scar of this experience forever. This is going to become part of our national and cultural identity. How exactly, of course, we're just going to have to wait and see, but I think it's all but inevitable that things are never quite going to be the same. Today's my 19th consecutive day without working. My job had become such a part of me for a number of different reasons that there were a few moments here and there where I wondered, who am I without this job? This is giving me an opportunity to really explore that. And I think that my outlook on life in general and the way that my job appears within a refreshed context, you might say, is going to be a lot different. A new outlook on life, as they say, right? And I think that we all are going to be experiencing that. Some more than others. There are people who have continued working throughout all of this. I envy those people. I went to Fred Meyer yesterday and picked up a couple of things. That's for those of you who are not in the Washington area, Fred Meyer is not a department store. It's like a Target or a Walmart, but nicer. There's a grocery section, and then there's clothing and housewares and electronics, etc. And I ran into somebody that I've known for a number of years who was working right at the front door, greeting customers as they entered. And I had a pleasant conversation with her. And I commented to her that I was envious that she was out there working. And just imagine for a second people working at grocery stores, people working at stores like Fred Meyer, people that we see very frequently and very regularly in our daily lives. Think about how much more important their role has become in light of all this. We need them. We need them where they are doing what they're doing so that we can get our food, so that we can get our essential supplies for keeping ourselves and our homes clean and safe. And they're out there helping us get those things. They serve a very important function, and I hope that they and people who work in that sort of occupation will be all the more appreciated. And I hope that appreciation sustains on a permanent basis once this is all over, because this highlights just how much we need people in those kinds of jobs. So I just want to say to her, Cecilia, and to everybody who is working in the stores and in all essential jobs, thanks. Thank you for what you guys are out there doing every day. With respect to healthcare workers, I the president described them as walking into the hospitals to begin their shifts for work each day looking like military people going into battle. I can't even begin to comment on the bravery that must be required to put yourselves at such risk every day to work as a healthcare professional right now. All I can do is say that I am awed. I'm awestruck with our healthcare workers right now. So I just wanted to express whatever gratitude I'm able to express. I have no way of even comprehending what that must be like for them. So thank you to you guys as well. Yesterday, I managed to get out. My close friend and I snuck off to a river to go trout fishing. I caught a fish. I caught a fish in a creek yesterday. I'm not very good at fishing, but I go because I've been into it for about the last 2 years. My friend got me into it. It's easier when you're standing on a beach casting out into Puget Sound or into the Tacoma Narrows or something. Where we were was a creek that runs through the middle of a very highly developed urban area. But most of the developed areas within the Tacoma area are at an elevation of about 300 feet. When you get close to the water, the land suddenly drops down as you approach sea level. So where we were, there's a creek that empties out into Chambers Bay, and it's cut a gully through the middle of the city. And when you get down into it, you can't see or even hear the city anymore. You look around you and there's just walls of trees and very steep embankments going up either side, and you're down amidst all this underbrush, and there's this creek running through with these just beautiful views. And we're casting a fishing line out into this, and I keep getting the lure and the hook stuck on trees and on stumps and logs and branches, and it's more stressful for me than it is for my far more skilled friend, my far more skilled fisherman friend. But I actually caught a fish yesterday while we were hiking around, and it was fun. After that, we went to an apartment and played pool and Jenga and Uno and card games, and Then we watched a movie called Alita Battle Angel. Had never seen it before. I'm not going to comment too much on that movie. There wasn't really much of a story that I could connect with. It was all visuals and, visual stimulation and an assault on the senses kind of a deal. A lot of it was really cool, but meh, you know, I'm not going to go back and watch it on purpose in the future. So today I don't really have much planned. This is pretty much all I've got these days in terms of something that I put effort into doing and into maintaining. So I'm at 20 minutes of broadcast. I'm going to stop now. There's a lot to read. There's a lot to study. I'm going to be a little more structured and have a few things prepared for tomorrow. Not to the extent that I did for yesterday, but today was just to sort of get the facts and numbers out and just talk about what's on my mind. This is more of like a journal for me than it is for anything else. If anybody knows and sees this, is there a way to download these videos and to save them? Because this is kind of a cool documentary of my life as it's existed since this virus pandemic really directly impacted my life and the lives of my close friends and my family. So if there's a way to get this all downloaded so I can splice it together and produce a little movie, I mean, that would be kind of a cool way to punctuate this whole chapter in my life, right? Well, anyway, that's it for today. Be good to each other.